Hey, what's up? What's up? Joe in Vegas back with another review. It's been a minute. Did you miss me? I know you did. You don't have to say it. I know you did. Yeah, it's been a weird month. There hasn't really been anything amazing. Everything has been so expensive. I was even going to do a review just for content, just to put something on the channel, just a little rant about how expensive tickets have gotten. They're out of control. They're honestly out of control, and I don't know. There's no slowing down. I don't see any slowing down. And it affects the shows, especially when I've seen bands 2 or 3 times. You know, I really have to struggle if I want to pay $400 a ticket to go see a band for the 5th time, 6th time, 4th time, 3rd time, first time. It's expensive. It's expensive. And, maybe it's great for someone who goes to 1 or 2 shows a year, but for a guy like me who goes to 2 shows a week, it's I'm spending $800 a show for 2 tickets, $500 a show, $1,000 a show for 2 tickets. It's plus that doesn't include the parking, the overpriced drinks, the overpriced food. Anyway, that's my rant. I can go much more into it because I know everybody agrees with me. Something has to be done with these fees, these Ticketmaster fees, these AXS fees. It's off the charts, but I can only do so much. So let's stick with the reviews. I'll leave the politics to other people. But it's affecting how much I go to shows, and I have a feeling it's affecting a lot of people. So I saw that Morgan Wallen was coming to town with Jelly Roll. They had a couple openers. Nate Smith and Ella Langley were before them. I saw Morgan, I think it was at iHeartRadio or Billboard Music Awards. I think it was iHeartRadio because he had put on a set of like 5 or 6 or 7 songs, and I liked him, and I know he's become the biggest guy out there. I mean, he is massive. He is sold. I think it's sold out. They're pretty sold out. 2 nights at Allegiant Stadium, which is where the Raiders play. It's 65,000 people. That's really impressive. And one of the nights is a Thursday night, so he's doing Thursday and Friday in town. He's doing tonight also. To sell out a Thursday night anywhere is impressive, especially a football stadium, especially in Vegas. So very impressive. And I know Jelly Roll, who that kind of pushed me over on whether I was going to go to the show. I like the guy. And that's the thing about both these guys. They're very likable. They're good. You could tell they're good. Jelly Roll, I've heard him on a lot of podcasts. I think I saw him on Joe Rogan. I think I heard him on Howard Stern. He's got a hell of a story. He's a super talented guy, and he's a fucking really good dude. You can tell he's a good dude with a good heart, which makes him very likable, and it makes him someone that you root for. And I think Morgan's the same way. He seems to be – I know he had a little trouble with saying a couple racial slurs. I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to talk about that. But he seems like a good guy. Throughout the set, both of them made little speeches in between songs that were very heartfelt. They seem like good guys that you just want to root for. There's so many piece of shit artists out there that – especially someone like Jelly Roll, you just want to root for them, and it really works when they're super talented and have great music, and both of these guys do, that it makes them, like I said, everybody wants to show up for them, and that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly why they're selling as many tickets as they're selling. I hate stadium shows. I've said it before. They're so big. Even if you pay a lot of money, you're still far, and because of an art, the artist has to play to a stadium. So there's half the show his back's going to be turned to you. There's no way around it. It's why I don't like stadium shows. You can't. It's hard to connect with the artist. But I'll tell you one thing about stadium shows. As much as I hate them, and as much as you are disconnected and far away, they have these new things now with these stadium shows where they give out these LED wristbands that are controlled by the soundboard or whoever controls them. It is fucking beautiful when that stadium lights up with those wristbands. And especially like during a ballad or an emotional song, and you look up and there's 65,000 lights up in the air, changing colors, soft. There's something magical in that moment. Goosebumps. You get goosebumps from it. These guys, I'll get into it now. They both had moments where I felt really connected, and that was cool. And you don't usually get that in a stadium show. But let's dig in. Before I start on the set list, ticket prices. So again, I was looking all week. Good seats, and again, good seats at a stadium are not good seats as far as I'm concerned. You're still so fucking far. But they were going for about $330 plus fees directly from Ticketmaster for the sporadic seats that were left. The resale markets were going for like $400 or $500. I had my eye on some seats that were $350, and I just couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't do it. I didn't know enough music by these guys to again, spend $800 for a night. Kept watching. I decided on Thursday afternoon I wasn't going. And then at about 6 o'clock, and the show I think was called for 5:36, those tickets dropped to $99 on Ticketmaster, not StubHub, Ticketmaster, not StubHub, not any resale. So I grabbed them, jumped in the car, ran down there. That show started early. I missed the first two openers. I walked in at about 7:15, 7:30, and Jelly Roll was just getting on stage. So I caught him, thankfully, because he pushed me overboard. I really liked the guy. I wanted to see how he was live. So let me get into it. I think he's considered an opener. I think he was, but honestly, he put on such a great show, and he played for a while. Started with Halfway to Hell, Son of the Dirty South, Wild Ones, Son of a Sitter. He did a cover of Garth Brooks' Friends in Low Places, which is a classic. Right here, he was talking a lot about his mom and the kind of music he grew up on. Again, he's so relatable. He's so likable. Hard not to like the guy. Then he did I'm Not Okay, which I think is his new song. Smoking Section. And then he talked again about growing up, and his brother was into gangster rap, and then he went into like a medley of a bunch of stuff that he grew up on. Boys in the Hood, The Rough Riders Anthem, Lose Yourself, Miss Jackson, and Just a Friend. Really got the crowd going. Bottle and Mary Jane, I Need a Favor. And for this, MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, actually came out, which was a surprise. I didn't know they had a song together, which they played next, which is Lonely Road, which is a take on John Denver's Country Roads. Good song. I mean, it's basically Country Roads, Take Me Home, but they did their version of it. And then he closed with Save Me, which was his big hit. I really like Jelly Roll. I just like him. He's talented. He's unique. He's got everything you want in an artist. I think the guy's just at the beginning of his trek. I didn't know he lives in Vegas. He talked about being a Vegas local. His wife grew up here, who I know she's popular too. He just checks all the boxes. I think it'd be hard to find anybody who doesn't like this guy, and he put on a great show. You know, I guess, like I said, he's considered the opener, and he did his job. He got that place fired up. I think a lot of people were actually there for him personally. But yeah, I'll rate them separately. For Jelly Roll, it's a 9 out of 10. I just think I didn't know many of his songs. I knew 3 or 4 songs. Plus, he threw those covers in there to keep me entertained and a lot of other people entertained. Great job, man. Again, I think I started following him last night on Instagram. I just find him interesting. I like him. So that's that. Then Morgan came out, put on a really long set. Also, same deal. Something about him is just so down to earth and freaking likable, man. I remember the first time I saw him. He's super talented also. Got great energy. Look, I'm not the biggest country music fan. Country music, when I see it live, I love it. I love it. But I never find that I go home and start listening to it. I just don't know why. I don't know why. I really got to start getting into it because I really love country. It's really become, modern day rock and roll, I guess you can call it. It's just country rock. And so let me get into his set list. Ain't That Some? I wrote the book, One Thing at a Time, Everything I Love, You Proof. And then here he had a cool little section where he brought out, I don't know if they're really, he said they were the bleachers. I guess he played baseball. He won a state championship. He brought out the bleachers from his high school. Again, I don't know if they're really his bleachers. But again, he talked about his coach that was helping him. He brought himself down to earth, which I think a lot of country stars do. Again, it makes them likable. It makes them relatable. He has a song called the 98 Braves. I mean, I'm 48 years old. 98 Braves are legendary. 7 Summers, Sunrise. He did like a 3-song acoustic set here. Again, you start connecting now. Is this it? There was one spot in the show that he went to a second stage. I think not this one yet. He had some help, which is a Post Malone song, I guess. Or he did it with Post Malone. I think he did it with Post Malone. Then he went to a second stage, and he talked about how, he grew up in this, he started in these little bars, and he felt, again, what I always talk about, this connection, which is really hard to do in stadiums. I think his rise happened very, very fast. In a matter of two or something years, he went from playing clubs to a couple stadiums a night. I'm sorry, a couple nights at a stadium. He did 3 ballads, which to me was the best part of the show. He really shined in this part to me. Cover Me Up, Lies, 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 and Sand in My Boots. These are 3 songs I will go home and listen to. The other stuff he does is great. It's really great country music, but it didn't sound so much better than a lot of the other country stuff. It sounded the same. It sounded good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But these 3 ballads, really, he shined. One of them, he was on piano. I think it was Sand in My Boots. You could hear the voice. You can hear the passion. It just worked so well. To me, that was the highlight of the show. Went back to the main stage, did Up, Down, Cowgirls, Chasing You, Heartless, Wasted on You, This Bar, More Than My Hometown, Whiskey Glasses, went to the encore, came back, did Thinking About Me, Last Night, and The Way I Talk. Really enjoyed it too, man. I really enjoyed this show. I mean, look, it helped that I got cheap tickets. But even if I didn't, especially if you love him and love this genre, I think you will be so happy going to this show. I say it all the time. These shows are worth the money. They're super expensive. They're worth the money. It's just how much of it can you do? So if you're going to treat yourself to a great night out with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, with your wife, with your kids, it's going to be fucking expensive. There's no way around it until the temperature of this changes, and everything's expensive now. Groceries, gas, it all adds up. But, I feel like concerts really... The demand for concerts went crazy after COVID, and I think they're taking advantage a little bit with the pricing. That's what I think. Or it's just simple supply demand. Anyway, scale of 1 to 10 for Morgan. I'd give him an 8.8 out of 10 just because I didn't know a lot of the music. I knew a couple of them, but if I knew the music, I'm sure it'd be much, much higher. Really enjoyed the guy. I don't know much about his story. I don't know much about him, but if that's my first or second impression of the guy, it's very positive. I would absolutely see him again. I would absolutely take someone again to see him. Great show. Sorry I've been MIA. There's some more shows coming up. It's just now a matter of how much I want to spend. So thanks for listening, and I will see you at the next show. Bye-bye.